Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth, Logos means study or science, Sattology means science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which is from a Sanskrit root word, myth, which means a fake lie or imagination. Mythology means a science or study of fake lie or imagination. Don't use mythology word for Vedic texts, Ramayana or Mahabharata. It is my humble request. Also, I want to thank you for all the love that you have shown during the last year. And we have had many shows in the new year, but this is, again, I'm very grateful to all of you who come regularly. The main purpose of the show is to spread the truth, and the truth is often hard to digest. Today, I have a very, very special guest, an old friend. She's not old, but means old friend.
Thank you.
And she has done a wonderful work in this area. She's has been on the show many times now. So without delay, let us welcome Deepali Patwadkar.
Namaste, Aditya ji.
Namaste.
And hello to all the viewers. It's good to be here on this Sattology channel.
So Deepali ji, one of the things which usually comes up in the questions with the, this is my comfort zone. What you speak and what you do is in my comfort zone. Sometimes other shows are not my comfort zone, but I do it because I need to learn also on the other side. So Deepali ji, what is the biggest problem in front of people? Because everyone wants everybody else to unite. But what is the problem which stops them from uniting?
I think the biggest problem in uniting is the thought that I am better than others. I am at a higher level and everybody else is at a low level. What I think is right, my way is the only way. My way is the only right way. All other ways are wrong. So I think this is what stops people from uniting, stops people from coming together.
Yeah, it's all about I, my, mine, and people fight. The parents fight because of their children, because they think their children are better looking than the others. They must think like that way. Children are all special. And adults fight over other things, which are children also get surprised. Why my papa is fighting? Why my parents are fighting? And we have seen all the politicians, they try to infiltrate the minds of the students and to make them pawns in their hands to fight against somebody else. Do you think that is also kind of exploitation, isn't it? Taking the gullible mind and then putting them against one community, against another community, and waste their lives.
Absolutely. I always feel this, if every person is equipped with the right knowledge, then no politician, no leader can, take somebody for a ride and lead people to a wrong destination. So I always think about it like this.
Yeah, and oftentimes even the religious leaders, they promise a post-dated check that you're going to get these many women after death. And first of all, they don't believe in reincarnation. And then they say after death, you'll get everything. So totally contradicting. And also, you live for heaven. If you don't believe in the next life, then why you live for heaven? You just live here right now. And the destiny, if the body is real, then it's going to go under the ground or burnt, or it will be put in the ocean, or anything can happen. Bodies are cremated in multiple ways. Again, a post-dated check. So our happiness is in post-dated checks. And believe me, nobody likes post-dated checks. People want a check which can be encashed today.
Right now. This is what I like about Charvak. Charvak was a philosopher, an Indian philosopher, an ancient one, and he has the most materialistic view, and he questions this. He says, why are you promising me things which I will get after my death? He says, bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamana kutaha. Like, after death, I'm not going to have my body.
That's right.
And who knows what I'm what I'm going to get. So right now, enjoy.
Enjoy. Like take loans and drink ghee. And that is
Mhm.
the classical capitalistic model. Finance is easily available. Take loans, enjoy your life, and rest of the life is to the mercy of that person who lended you money. That is a classical American problem. My very good friend, a doctor, he took some student loan to get his medical degree, and his loans are $600,000, and he's just paying through the nose. There is a lien on his property, all kinds of things happening. And this is just one example that how education is exploited by these people, which should be freed in generally. That means it was never an
Mhm.
education. It was actually just a skill impartation for which somebody earns the money rest of their lives. So that is the problem we are facing in USA, and probably it will come to other countries also, where human beings are a commodity. The one of the biggest problems in the USA is the health is a privilege. Only few can afford healthcare, where the health should be a right. So how can there be unity when these kind of problems are there? What do you have to say on that?
Yes, I think again it is like, you have to have compassion and you have to look beyond yourself. After that, me, when you become we instead of me, then I think that should be the solution that will lead to a solution to all such problems.
Thank you so much, Dipaliji. I think we can get started with your presentation, and then we'll
Mhm.
continue discussion.
Yeah. So today, what I'm going to talk about is unity in diversity, and it is exactly as you said, Adityaji. It is going from me to we. So let me share my screen, and there. Yeah.
Yes,
So
we can see it.
before when we are speaking about unity in diversity, I generally start looking at every subject with what do the Vedas say about this. And when we go to the Vedic literature, Rigved, which is the most ancient Ved. Ved itself means knowledge. So the most ancient knowledge of the humanity. In that, there is this rishi called Dirghatama Aujatya. And this rishi, he says, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. So what he is saying is that the truth is one. And all the learned people call it by different names. So he says first that the devatas, all the devatas like Indra, Mitra, Varun, Agni, and Surya, all of these devatas, they are one and the same. Only they are called by different names. It is one principle. It is one tattva. Brahma tattva, maybe you can say, it is just that one tattva, and that is called by different names. So there is unity, there is oneness, and from this we find so many diverse things appearing from it. This is the basis of or the foundation of Hinduism. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. And the same thing you will see is said in the Upanishads. Upanishads are the later texts, and this is the philosophy upon which Hinduism rests. And in this, there is one statement about Brahma, about Ishwar, and it says, Sa ekaki na ramate, that this Devata, the Brahma, was all alone, was feeling very lonely. There is nobody with him. And because of this feeling of loneliness, that one Brahma, it became many. Ekoham bahusham. I was one, but I became many. So from one comes many, and this is the what do you say, the basis of uh, many things coming out of one, and there being oneness amongst all these many things. And Aditya ji, for this I am going to use your name as an example, like Aditya. There are 12 Aditya. Aditya is Surya. Aditya is the sun god, and there are all these 12 children. They are born to Aditi, so they are all called Aditya. And see, there is the god is one, the devata is one, Surya, but the same devata comes in so many different forms, in 12 forms, one form for every month, and two forms for every season. So you see that Aditya is also Indra, Aditya is also Parjanya, who brings the rains, and Aditya is also Vishnu and Anshuman, and Aditya is also Pusha, who does the Poshana, and Aditya is also Mitra. So these are so many different forms of Aditya, and then there is only actually one Aditya, but with in so many forms. Aditya ji.
Thank you so much, Deepali ji, for putting that. There is a one very good shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Kavim Purana Manushasitara Manoraneyam Sanusmaridya Sarvasya Dhataram Achinti Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parasta. The darkness is removed by the sun, literally. And the most beautiful thing of the sun is it is giving heat and light equally to all human beings and all animals and all birds, all oceans, everywhere. He doesn't discriminate. Very uniting factor. And from Dwadash Aditya came the 12 Greek gods, because they could not understand that 12, why the 12 is constant in a Western civilization. 12 Olympians, 12 Greek gods, and somehow the world is still divided, despite sharing all the resources of the earth. Americans cannot say that the sun is their property. By the way, California taxes you for sun, but the people are making money, but sun is not their property, and nobody comes to California from India just for the sun, because I tell them we don't come here for sun, we come here only for money, nothing else, or dharma, the dharma prachar. But other than that, India has plenty of sun. We can enjoy sun all the day long over there. Please continue your presentation, and then we'll continue our conversation.
Yes. So this is one example of unity in diversity. So the principle is one. So the principle is one sun, but the sun comes in so many forms. The sun is also the rain. Sun is also the one who brings rain, actually. And that is why sun is called Indra and Parjanya. And sun is does the portion, because it is because of sunlight we get all the vegetation and fruits and grains and everything. So these are the different forms of sun, and yet the principle is one, which is Aditya. And I want to take one more example in practical life. Like Aditya is an example from maybe text, but how is this implemented in the day-to-day life, where we see so much diversity in so many ways? So the example is of Makar Sankranti. Tomorrow, 14th January, is the Makar Sankranti, and Makar is the sign of Capricorn, the zodiac sign of Capricorn. And tomorrow is the day when the sun will enter that sign of Capricorn. So here is a picture. I hope you can see it. Yes. So this is the sun, and the earth is going around the sun, and far away are all these stars, which we have named them as 12 zodiac signs. And tomorrow is the day when the earth will be at a point from where the sun will appear to be in this sign of Capricorn. And this day is called as the Makar Sankranti. About more than 1,000 years ago, that was the time when Uttarayan happened when sun entered the sign of Makar, when sun entered the sign of Capricorn. And that is why tomorrow's day is actually the Uttarayan, the very ancient Uttarayan. And we are still sticking to that old date, and that is why it is shifted away from 21st December to 14th of January. And slowly it will still slip ahead, and the Makar Sankranti will come on 15th Jan, 16th Jan, and so on. So this is the event. This is the celestial event which is going to happen tomorrow, and it is celebrated by the Hindus worldwide as Makar Sankranti. And on this day, the Hindus, they will worship the sun, they will worship the Agni, and they will worship the cattle. And it is advised that we eat sesame seeds and jaggery on this day. So this is the one principle for Makar Sankranti, that you do worship of sun or Agni, you do go seva. Go is cow, gau is cow. So you do go seva, and you eat til and jaggery. And let's see how people, have implemented this in so many ways. So we will see that there is a diversity in name. There is diversity in the way the worship is done, in different games that are played, in the go save, or in each and every aspect. There are many more, but I have just picked up some of them. So we have different names throughout India. Tomorrow's festival, it has different names. In Kashmir, it is called Shishur Sankrant. Shishur is like, the winter Sankrant. And in the northern side, this is happening in the month of Magh. So it is called Maghi, or it is called Magh Sankrant. And in Assam, it is called Magh Bihu. And in Bengal and Bangladesh, it is called Paush Sankrant. In Pakistan, in Sindh, it is called Uttaran, or it is called Uttarayan in Rajasthan and Gujarat. And it's Pongal in the south. In Tamil Nadu, it is called Pongal. So many different names. But all of these names are for the same festival, which is Sankranti. And then the one principle is the worship of sun or Agni. And see, there are so many ways in which the Surya Puja, or in which the Agni Puja is done. So we will see that, people will go to the river Ganga, or they will go to the Ganga Sagar, which is the sea where the river Ganga meets the sea. So at the Ganga Sagar, in the Ganga, they will have a sacred bath on Makar Sankranti. Or people will worship Vishnu. Vishnu is also one of the Adityas. Vishnu is also Surya. So Vishnu is also worshipped. So some people, they will worship Vishnu. Some people will worship Agni. Some people will worship the sun. And when they are going to worship the sun, they are going to do it in so many different ways. Some of them will just draw this beautiful rangoli. And even Dan is given on this particular day. So Dan is donations. So giving donation of food, mainly it is food donation. So rice is donated to a family, and it should be sufficient for one meal for one family. This is the donation which is done on Makar Sankranti. So these are the different ways in which different people will do the worship. Not everyone will do everything. People will be doing different things, and as they like, And then there are so many different games that are played. So one of the most popular games is flying the kite. And this is a picture from Gujarat. And you will see that, people will come together to just fly kites. And you will see the whole sky, it will be dotted with bright colored spots everywhere. And people will come into their terrace, and they will watch, and they will fly kites. So it's a time where, everybody comes together. Though all those who live nearby, they will come together, and they will be participating in some game or the other. So in Punjab, it will be Bhangra. In Maharashtra, it will be Haldi Kumkum. So this is the time when, all the women folk, they will go to each other's house and call others to their homes. So it's basically a time to come together and sing and dance and play games like this. So different things in different areas, in different regions of India. So there is also the Go Seva. So the cattle, especially the bullocks, they are worshipped on Makar Sankranti. And you will see that in Karnataka, they will take out a procession of these bullocks that have been decorated, and they have been washed, they have been given a very nice bath, and they have garlands of flowers in their necks, and their procession will be taken out. Or in Tamil Nadu, there is this game which is called as Jallikattu. So it's a very famous game, and young men, they will participate in this game. Or even in the region of Eastern India, they will have a Godhana Puja. So they will be worshipping all the cattle that they have, cows and bullocks all together. So there is a diverse way in which people will celebrate this, in which the people will do the puja of their cattle. And then there is the recommendation. The recommendation is people should eat sesame seeds, which is called til, and jaggery. And you will see there are hundreds of different sweets which are made out of til and jaggery. So in some places they will make laddus, they will make chapatis out of til and gul, they will make pulao, they will make rice out of sugar and til. And then there is gajak and ghevar and so many different varieties. I should have put a photograph over here of so many different sweets that are made only using til and jaggery. And what we see in this is that there is one principle. This one principle is worship the sun, do the Go Seva, do your service towards all the cattle. And the third principle is eat til and jaggery. So this is what is given. This is the principle, underlying principle. But for this underlying principle, the way in which people have expressed themselves from the different areas of India, it is different, it is diverse. And you will see that people will take the freedom of expression, and they will bring out different colors for the same principle. So we see everything starts from that one underlying principle, and it is expressed in so many ways. And when we start looking at all those different ways, when somebody comes to India, they really find that there is so much variety, and they will think that everything is different, but it isn't different. It is all one and the same in the end. And this is the unity in diversity, that the underlying principle is same, but the way in which it is expressed is different. Aditya-ji?
Yes, there are so many facets to it, and also you quoted very correctly the other aspects also. The underlying principle, we are actually playing, we are actually consuming the same resources all over the world. Recently there was a pig heart transplanted into human. Now how can they say that man has a dominion over animals? It is the animals who are saving the life of a man. So again, a faulty principle, very like a, what you call it, a exploitative mindset, that man has a dominion over nature, which is totally not correct. So we'll cover that later. You finish the presentation and then we'll continue our discussion.
Sure. So as you said, we are all made from that one thing. So we are all, whether it is humans or animals, we are all made from the same earth. We are made from the same raw material. We are made from the same earth, from the same waters, from the same air, and from the same energy. And this is the underlying principle, which is one. And this also comes in the philosophy. So in Chandogya Upanishad, there is one very beautiful story of Aruni and his son Shvetaketu. So Aruni is the sage, and his son, he has been learning at some hermitage, and he comes back home 12 years later. He has learned all the Ved, he has learned all the Shastra, and he is thinking he has learned everything there was to learn, and he has been a very clever student, and there is nobody other better than him. He is the best, and he knows everything. He comes back with this kind of attitude, and it starts showing up in the way he's talking, in the way he is walking. And the father Aruni, he is very much worried that his son has become so arrogant. So one day he calls upon Shvetaketu, and he asks Shvetaketu that have you learned that one thing by which you will know everything else? Shvetaketu is puzzled. He says, how can there be just one thing by which I can know everything else? There can't be any such thing. So Aruni says to him that, well, you're wrong. There is one such thing, which is the Brahma, the principle, the ultimate principle. If you know that, you will know everything else. Did you learn about it? So then Shvetaketu, he becomes humble, and he says, no, father, I haven't learned about this. Do tell me about it. How is it that I can know about many things from knowing just one thing? And then Aruni gives him so many different examples. He gives him one example of paper and book. He says, if you know the properties of paper, you will know the properties of all the books that are out there. So if you know that paper can catch fire, if you know that paper can get wet, and if it comes in contact with water, it can get wet, and you can tear it. So if you know the paper well, you will know that all these things will happen to any book, whether it is a storybook, whether it is a book on mathematics, whether it is a notebook, or whether it is a workbook, whatever it be, whether even if it is a diary, the same things will happen to it. It will, somebody can tear it. If it gets in contact with water, it will become wet. And if it gets in contact with fire, it will be burnt. So just by knowing paper, you will know all the books. Or Aruni gives one more example. He says, if you know gold, if you know the properties of gold, you will know the properties of all the ornaments that are created from gold. So for example, if you know the melting point of gold, you will know that every ornament, be it earrings or bangles or necklaces or rings, all of them will melt at the same, at the same melting point. They will have the same melting point. So just by knowing one thing, you will know everything else. And similarly, Aruni says that there is just one principle, which is Brahma, and from this principle, the whole world has come to be. And if you know Brahma, you will know the whole world. So there is just this one thing that you need to know, by which you will know everything. There will be nothing else left for you to learn. And from this, we come to this conclusion that what has been taught in the Indian scriptures is that there are many ways to attain the ultimate truth. So this ultimate truth, the Brahma, the Ishwar, if you want to attain it, there are many ways. There is not just one way, but there are many ways to attain it. Some ways might be slow, some might be fast, but all the roads will lead to Ishwar. All the roads will lead to Brahma. In fact, Bhagavad Gita gives 18 different ways of reaching Brahma. And this is what is what you can say the summary of all the teachings of so many books, so many religious books that the Hindus have. And all of them tell that, the Sat Ekam Sat. Sat is only one. But Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. People, the Gyani, the wise people will know it by so many different names. And that is why, even if the Brahma is one, there are so many books about the Brahma. The Brahma is a principle. So there are so many books about the Brahma. And when we are speaking about the ways of reaching this Brahma, the Hindus have so many books. They're called, that is why, the Hinduism is called as the religion of not one book, but a religion of library. So there is just one principle to understand, but so many ways to learn about it. There is just one principle, but there are so many different ways to reach it. And nobody can actually say that there is only one way or there is only one right way to reach this Brahman. And with that, I will stop, Adityaji, and we can, talk more about diversity and unity.
Most of the fights in the world have happened because of religions. And still happening. The thought process, the problem is that the people are silencing everybody else on the definition of spirituality in the West. So my view is prominent, and the governments are used to destroy the freedom of the people, citizens. It has happened in the Middle East. It is beginning to happen in the US also. In the US, it has already happened in the past, where the European settlers destroyed the freedom of religion of the natives. In the Middle East, it has happened that in the conquest of the Islamic invaders to Persia, they destroyed the Zoroastrian culture. They tried to destroy the culture, and you can see what the mess is in Pakistan and Afghanistan, because the local cultures are subdued. The local humanity is subdued. So when somebody says my viewpoint is better than you, then how can there be unity? It's a karma cycle. The what happened with the colonization all over the world. It happened World War I, World War II, and because the massive destruction of the freedom of voice, freedom of choice, and the freedom of human independence happened. So what do you have to say on that? How can unity be, there be unity in that kind of diversity?
Yes, you have put up such good points, Adityaji. Like, it isn't so that uh, uh, there haven't been any battles before. There have been so many battles before, so many wars before. Like, for example, there was Alexander of Macedonia who invaded Persia and he won Persia. But there is a difference when we see that European arriving in America and they are taking away the freedom of the natives over there, and they are imposing their own thought, their own religion upon the people of America. This is what we see in the recent times. But when we see that Alexander had invaded Persia, we see that the later Indo-Greek kings or the later Greco-Bactrian kings, they were worshipping all the gods. So they were not only worshipping the Greek gods, but they were also worshipping the Zoroastrian, the Persian gods, and they were also worshipping Buddha and the Hindu gods, Shiva and Vishnu as well. So we see this kind of mixture of culture when people are open-minded, when people think that, if I have some I have some thoughts, I am still open to learn from you. And this is what we see in the ancient times. And these are not so very ancient. These are just like a little over 2000 years ago.
The one of the things which also comes to the question is the languages. Now languages are evolved based on the time, place, and circumstance. Most of the languages come. But the most beautiful thing is human beings across the globe can communicate even though they do not know the language. Communication is different than the speaking side of it. You, if you do not know something, you can gesture and communicate.
Mhm.
uh, so languages have been a major problem in all over the world. The entire Europe is divided based on languages, and there is no difference practically. Italian can understand Spanish, and a Spanish can understand Italian or French, because all are coming from the same source. But because the focus is on individuality, it destroys the diversity. So like my feelings are more important than yours. What I
Mhm.
feel is more important, and little bit, like I may hold the spoon uh, like this, maybe this, and somebody may hold the spoon like this. I don't know how they, even that is differentiated. They'll say that's the East European way of holding the fork, and this is a British way of holding the fork. But it's a fork is a fork. So the point is, the we have purposefully created divisions for our own to make ourselves more superior than others. It is like the my way or the highway.
Yes.
In India also we see that, like some people, even that is true with Hindus also, that somebody may remember few shloka and start judging everybody else, that yes, they know something, and they may do total disastrous work in translating it, but they may say that I'm better than you because I know 15 shloka. And the point is, do you follow them in your own life? And then again, then the discussion disappears immediately. So these divisions are artificially created by man, but the nature has no such division. Like you to give an excellent example of sun, which we are celebrating Makar Sankranti. And so what is your view on that?
Uh, Absolutely, Adityaji. The thing is, when we start looking at things, uh, we go deeper and deeper. Then we realize that everything becomes one, and this is true even in sciences. Like in the beginning, when people started learning sciences, they were like, this is biology is different, physics is different, chemistry is different, and slowly over time we have seen, like, there is no such division. There is a biochemistry, and there is, like, physio chemistry also, which is involved. So all of these are interlinked, and as we go more and more deeper, and we start looking at things like, there is this universal theory, or this one field where everything has stemmed out of that one. So whether it is science, or whether it is day to day life, or whether it is philosophy, when you go deep inside it, in every branch, you will start seeing that unity, which is which binds everyone, not just the living beings, but even the non-living things on this earth. And we are just a part of the big whole organic being, which is called as the universe.
Thank you so much for your presentation today, Deepali ji. Before we part off, one question I have, one more, just a discussion point, that what is the solution to today's problems of unity within the Hindu community, according to you?
Unity within the Hindu community. Yeah, yeah. Again, I think it is missing the whole point. People are like, looking at everything uh, from a very high level. One has to go deep. And once you just scratch the surface and go inside, then you see that there are no differences, but we are all one. So this is the only solution. Go deep.
Thank you so much, Deepali ji, and thank you for all the viewers for watching, and thank you so much for giving your time to us. Do comment on the video and let us know your feedback, and we'll be happy to see you in the next show. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.